today we're going to take you through the eviction process in Utah. An eviction is a serious matter, and it's essential for landlords to understand the legal framework and the procedures involved. The process we're going to discuss is specific for Utah. However, this is not in any way legal advice, so please consult with a qualified attorney in your area for help with your specific situation. And although you can go through this process on your own, I'd recommend you hire an attorney who specializes in property management to do this for you. So let's dive into the eviction process. First off, we need to have an understanding of what an eviction is. So let's clarify what that is. An eviction is a legal process used to remove a tenant from a rented property, such as a room, an apartment, a house, or a mobile home. While no landlord wants to resort to evictions, there are situations where it becomes necessary. So it's crucial to understand Utah's eviction laws to handle such situations professionally and within the bounds of the law. The first step in the eviction process is to serve the tenant a notice of termination. Landlords cannot evict tenants without valid reasons, and each reason necessitates a specific eviction notice. The type of notice required depends on the grounds for eviction. Here are some of the most common eviction reasons. Number 1, late rent. If a tenant fails to pay rent on time, serve them with a 3-day notice to pay rent or vacate. Once you serve them notice, you'll not want to accept any partial rent payments at that time. Although paying a partial rent payment doesn't exempt them from the eviction, it can muddy the process. And if you have to go down the eviction road, you'll want to make sure the process is as clean as possible. Number 2, lease violations. When a tenant violates a lease or any of their lease terms, give them a 3-day notice to comply or vacate. They have 3 days to rectify the lease breach, which may include repairing damages that they've made to the property. Number 3, end of lease term. If a tenant remains on the property past the lease's end date, serve a 15-day notice to quit. If the lease is a month-to-month lease or tenancy, you can serve them a 5-day notice. Number 4, subletting violation. If the lease prohibits subletting, serve a 3-day eviction notice to correct the issue. Number 5, committing waste. In cases of a tenant inflicting property damage or them turning your property into a local dumping ground, provide them a 3-day notice to comply before continuing the eviction process. Number 6, illegal business. If a tenant engages in illegal activities on the premises, issue a 3-day notice to vacate. So once one of these notices are served, the next step in the process is to serve a notice of complaint. After serving the initial notice and the tenants have not complied or vacated the premises, landlords in Utah have 2 options to proceed with eviction. Number 1, file a complaint with the district court, then serve the tenant with summons and complaint within 120 days. Or 2, serve the tenant with the complaint first and then file it with the court within 10 days. How you serve the notice is also important. The eviction notice and the complaint can be served by various individuals, including a sheriff, a constable, a U.S. Marshal, or anyone over the age of 18 who does not have a criminal record. And service can occur in 3 different ways. Number 1, you can serve them in person, delivering it directly to the tenant. Number 2, you can leave a copy with someone living with the tenant who is of suitable age. Number 3, you can mail a copy to the tenant with a return receipt. And for 3-day notices, you can also affix a copy in a conspicuous place at the address after failing to find a person of suitable age and discretion there. So once they've been served, the tenant has 3 days to file an answer to the eviction complaint. If they fail to do so, the landlord can proceed with an unlawful detainer lawsuit. The next step is an occupancy hearing. Once the tenant files an answer to the eviction complaint, either party can request an occupancy hearing. This hearing determines if the tenant can remain on the property during the eviction process. At this time, it's also crucial not to move the tenant's property without their permission. You want to make sure you follow the process because moving the tenant's personal property without proper procedure can lead to legal complications. If an eviction hearing is deemed necessary during the occupancy hearing, it will occur no more than 60 days after the initial court filing. And if the tenant doesn't attend, the judge will rule in the favor of the landlord. So the tenant may also be liable for the landlord's attorney's fees at this time. If the judge rules in favor of the landlord, an eviction order will be issued, allowing the eviction process to continue and granting the landlord an order of restitution. The order of restitution is the tenant's final chance to vacate the premises voluntarily before facing forced eviction. Alongside this order, the tenant must receive a request for hearing regarding enforcement of the order of restitution form. Both documents should be served by a sheriff, a constable, or a private investigator. If the landlord wins the case, the order of restitution is served immediately after the hearing. And then after receiving the order of restitution, the tenant has 3 days to vacate the property and collect their belongings. Failure to do so allows law enforcement to remove the tenant forcibly. Now, however, in cases of eviction due to illegal or criminal activities, the tenant must actually vacate the property immediately. And if the tenant leaves personal belongings behind, they should be given the opportunity to retrieve those essential items like clothing, financial documents, identification, medical records, prescription medications, or medical equipment within 5 days. So to sum it up, if you own rental property in Utah, it's essential to be well versed in the state's eviction laws. While this guide provides valuable information, remember that laws can change, and it's always a good idea to consult with a licensed attorney in Utah for specific legal advice. If you have any questions about property management, feel free to contact us here at Envy Property Management for assistance. We'd love to help you out. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.